they hosted this drag event where the drag queen, again, an adult male dressed in fetish gear, who goes by the handle LSD, cleverly spelled ELLISD, but LSD, had access to our children who danced for him, and he taught them, and they were given free makeup kits, and this is what's going on.
This is Greg Bird from the California Family Council. We are standing in the dome of the state capitol here in Sacramento after a hearing that was just held in the Judiciary Committee in the Assembly about a bill. It was AB 665 that is actually giving minors the right to consent to their own mental health care after the age of 12 and actually put themselves in a group home, all on their own, with their own wisdom, deciding that they don't want to live at home anymore. But one of the concerns about this bill is it assumes that parents are really in danger to kids, and we shouldn't have anything to worry about counselors and their influence. And so I just wanted to talk to Allie, who has some firsthand experience of what some of these counselors who will now have the right to counsel your child if this bill passes once they reach the age of 12. She has children in the Davis School District, is that right?
Correct.
And there is a counselor there that is not the counselor, or the woman for the counselor most people assume kids would encounter at school. Can you tell us something about this counselor and why they're so bad?
Sure. So we have a counselor named Kenna Cook at the Davis Joint Unified School District contracted Communicare Health Centers. Okay. She has a presence on our high school campus as well as our junior highs. She is a self-described proud butt slut and queer sex educator. She wrote an article not too long ago called Young, Queer, and Full of Fear, where she describes her experience chaperoning an LGBTQ prom, which had children 13 to 20 in attendance. So setting aside for a moment the inappropriateness of 20-year-olds attending proms with 13-year-olds, she goes on in this article to describe her interactions with the children, and she, in her own words, makes it very clear that she knows she's embarrassing kids, and she is totally willing to break their boundaries. She talks in the article about how most children grabbed the condoms that were out on her table and blew them up and used them as balloons and bounced them around like beach volleyballs. She talks about how one young girl, looked at a dental dam that was grape flavored and compared it to a fruit roll-up. So again, she's well aware that she is pushing our children's boundaries by introducing them to concepts and situations they're not ready for, and again, that they're totally embarrassed by. So this is the caliber of counselor who gets to, on a whim, decide whether or not a child 12 years or older gets to go home that night. And she's not alone. We just had a Reverend Tinnen in Loomis, who is part of a wellness center that, again, had presence on campus.
Now, what is a wellness center again, for parents who don't have one in their local school?
So they are areas on school campuses or off-site where children are encouraged to go if they're experiencing mental distress, particularly around trans identification or gender non-conforming identities. So they are facilities that have, again, counselors, not what we would normally assume to be a counselor, but these counselors are in these facilities and they have access to very vulnerable children who are easily swayed by social media and their peers into thinking that they have these gender identities that their parents won't accept, that their parents won't support.
Yeah. And you mentioned a pastor that from Loomis calls himself a pastor.
Yes,
And
and he's part of the Landing Spot, which
Okay.
has a presence on 10 separate campuses in the Placerville, Roseville area, and they are now no longer welcome on campus because parental awareness was raised. But they promoted drag shows for children where they would be performing and learning from grown men dressed in fetish gear without parental consent, which is also happening in the school district where my 5th and 7th graders attend, which again is Davis Joint Unified School District. Just on March 12th, we had a secret drag workshop that was promoted on our school campuses by the Davis Phoenix Coalition, the teen LGBTQ teen queer group. It was promoted online, and children were encouraged to direct message the organizers and fill out forms, and had section on the form, if your parents are not supportive, let us know how best to reach out to you in secret.
Yeah.
So they hosted this drag event where the drag queen, again, an adult male dressed in fetish gear, who goes by the handle LSD, cleverly spelled ELLISD, but LSD, had access to our children who danced for him, and he taught them, and they were given free makeup kits, and this is what's going on. Parents need to be aware.
Maybe you think this is a little unbelievable, this is not happening in your school, but it is happening. Here's an eyewitness. We can provide documentation showing that's happening. And you kind of can see a theme here that, do you want schools to have easier access to your kids? Do you want your kids to be able to consent to this type of counselors, right? Do you want them in their presence, right? Parents need to be involved in their kids' lives more than ever, especially if they're going to public school. And so we need to resist every effort of the state to put itself in between kids and parents. So we'll be providing more information about this, but please oppose AB 665. It now goes to a vote of the Assembly floor. Every legislator is going to decide whether they're going to vote yes or no. Make sure your legislator knows you oppose this bill. Thank you so much.